a complex issue, and it's been going on for years. Parents still coming out of the woodwork, realizing with new information that their kids might have been affected years ago. We break down the timeline on what's happened and what's next.
If they have a known mold allergy, should they come to school on Monday?
I would say that's a conversation between your physician and our school health office.
An August meeting intended to give an update about a new HVAC system at Glenwood, a timeline on when the mold problem was first discovered, and what the school system has done since took a turn.
Is it your plan to provide all their reports public? Because if you're going to, standing here in front of this community to let them speak about what they're going to share is a useless use of all our time.
The meeting came after parent complaints about their sick kids, mold, and a lack of communication within the school system.
Once we put those kids on the bus or drop them off at school, they're the responsibility of the county to take care of. And here they have done a totally horrible thing.
The school system admits mold has been a problem at Glenwood Middle School since 2010. But parents say the first notification they got of mold specifically was in a July 22nd email, saying in part, concerns about air quality and mold were reported at Glenwood Middle School in July 2013, following several hot and humid weeks. Parents reached out to the InFocus team starting this summer, sharing stories of severe asthma, nosebleeds, and chronic headaches that their children struggle with during the school year.
Unfortunately, because we were not notified about anything to do with mold at the school, I couldn't offer that up to her doctor as any data.
There was never any...
Still, the Howard County school system promises safe schools.
We take their concerns very, very seriously. We also take very seriously the health of our buildings, the environmental conditions in our buildings. And that's why we've gone to the measures that we've gone to.
In a 2014 email obtained by the InFocus team, a Glenwood teacher wrote, "I got really sick and dizzy today at school and was taken to the ER by ambulance." It goes on to say other teachers came into my classroom and said they had to leave because the air was so bad. More than a year later, in June of 2015, then Glenwood principal David Brown wrote to the executive director of school improvement and administration saying, "I'm very concerned that the mold issues at GMS may come out in the public." It goes on to say, in November of 2014, you instructed me that I was not to share statements with staff or community regarding mold or indoor air quality unless they were approved by you.
The actual notification would have done a lot to prevent the type of problems they're facing now.
In early August, 2 weeks before the Glenwood meeting, an email to the Mount View Middle School community read, "Some occurrences of mold were detected in a number of our lower level classrooms. Since then, other schools admitting mold indoors. Pointers Run Elementary School and Centennial High School both sent out notification." In September, the InFocus team heard from parents at Glenell High School who were concerned about kids getting sick and what looked to be mold in the building.
I started looking around when I would go to pick her up and stuff, and that's when I started noticing. I just looked up and there's mold on a tile. There's black mold.
Several days after that story aired, the principal of Glenell High School sent an email to the community saying there is no mold problem at the school. 2 days later, the school system admitted that there were a few instances of mold growth found on ceiling tiles at Glenell.
Excuse me, hi, I'm sorry. Principal Schindler, I'm Amy with Channel 2. Have you notified parents of mold at Glenell? Is there a reason why you said that there wasn't a mold problem?
Our team caught up with Principal Schindler following the first Indoor Environmental Quality Advisory Committee meeting in October. He was selected as a part of the committee made up of parents, community members, and experts to come up with a plan to recommend to the superintendent regarding indoor air quality. The school system says the buildings are safe and they're doing everything they can. Still, for some parents, it's a new school year full of old concerns and sicknesses.
They lost my trust. And I'm someone who worked for the Department of Education. My mother retired from there. I'm probably the hardest person to make lose trust.
Now, we know of 5 schools that are dealing with mold. We hear very often from new Howard County parents with new concerns, everything from multiple sinus infections to missed days of school to feeling like their worries are going unheard.
So, Amy, it seems like whenever you do one of these stories, we're bombarded with tons of phone calls.
Exactly.
So what's the system doing about it?
Well, the school system put together an indoor environmental quality advisory committee, which had its first meeting last week. The committee was started as an effort to get a variety of community members involved in the process of improving the air quality. The group will eventually make recommendations to the superintendent.
And we saw you chasing down the principal there, and we've seen that video.
Exactly.
You feel like that you've gotten any answers, though? You've been doing this since the summer from the schools.
Well, it's been a couple weeks, and we've been talking about that. I think it's been about 2.5 weeks since I've heard from them. But you have to take note, Rebecca Amani-Dub, the school system's former director of communications, was featured in tonight's story. She actually left her position with the school system last month. I've reached out to the Howard County School System for comment about teachers' complaints dating back to 2013, an update on the cleaning process at Glenelg High School, a sit-down interview request with Superintendent Dr. Foose, and comment regarding the latest school, Centennial High School, finding mold. All of these emails have gone unanswered. It's been about 2 weeks since we have heard from the school system regarding this.
They're going to have to answer sooner or later because you got a lot of upset and frustrated parents out there.
Exactly. Hopefully they do.
All right. We know you're going to stay on top of it, Amy.
Thanks.
All right. Dakari?